Here's what's happening on Ewetopia farms today. Once you block out the sun, weeds can't live. So this is what I have. It works really good. I truly believe they want the small farmers gone. And it would take me 50 years just to break even. The nice thing about all this old machinery, it's actually quite easy to fix and maintain. Let's get started. my corn planter, and this is my bean planter. Now, if you're a farmer, you know what this machine is. This is a conventional seed drill, they call them, for wheat cereal grains. It's not really made for beans, but you can, on this machine here, you can actually open up those pots and you can actually use this for beans. So, to make this discussion really short, to not drag on, I use this machine because it's 16 feet wide, so I can plant quite fast with 16 feet at a time. If I was to use the corn planter for beans, I'd be only planting 4 rows of beans at a time at a 30-inch spread. See a 30-inch spread on those seeders. Now, to put beans through here, don't quote me on this, but I think you have to buy a different device in here to handle beans. So you have to alter them, I think. Because right now it's made for corn. So beans are different. So the reason why we didn't go down this road, because it's only a 4-row planter, it takes me forever to plant the beans. And I have a little issue with the 30-inch rolls in the beans. Now the issue with the 30-inch rolls are, we have Roundup ready beans. That means we're spraying Roundup on the beans, and it doesn't affect the beans, but it kills the weeds. So, when you have a weed problem, and you have 30-inch rolls, until the beans are canopy over the rolls, there's always an option for more weeds to move in, until the canopy is covering the whole field with beans. So this planter is 7-inch rolls. So I have a coverage on the field extremely quick with 7-inch rolls. The field is covered over when the beans are 5 inches, 6 inches high. The whole field is covered over. There's no more weed problems. Because once you block out the sun, weeds can't live. Which this machine on 30-inch rolls, or a bean planter at 30-inch rolls, until them rolls are covered over at 30 inches wide, could take a month and a half to cover those rolls over. And so that's a little issue with that, because the guy that sprays my field doesn't like the 30-inch rolls. He says 30-inch rolls work good in real ideal conditions, but if there's a little bit of a drought condition where the beans don't grow, you could have to spray the beans twice if you start getting weeds in between those rows. So, on that discussion, so on this machine here, I just opened up the pods to take beans. The problem with this machine is, see, it has a double coulter, which you want to have a double coulter, they're the best. But what happens is, the bean falls down in that little groove, and when you're driving real fast, that wheel's turning around, and it actually could just trip the bean seed right on top of the ground. So the slower you drive with this machine, the better it does. If you drive a little bit too fast, it could start kicking up beans out of the ground. And at $100 a bag for beans, it can become quite expensive. So that's the issue with this machine. It's not really a bean planter, but I use it for a bean planter, but it can't plant beans. So the other issue is, it's hard to explain, but this is called a plateless planter. Okay, the new planters today are called air planters. So I think the way air planters work is, they suck up a seed, and as they're driving, they're releasing the seed one at a time with suction. It's called an air planter. This is a plate planter. So I can't open it up, but inside here, there's about a 10-inch wheel in there with all little fingers on it, and this is filled up with corn. And as the fingers go around, each little finger grabs a piece of corn, carries it around, and releases it. This is called a plateless planter, because they're not calling it a finger planter, I don't think. And the reason why it's called a plateless planter, because the original planters that everybody made had a wheel in it that had fingers in it, and it actually, it had a plate in it, excuse me, it had a plate in it with notches in it, and that plate would run around the bottom of this, and it would actually pick up seeds, and as the plate went around, it dropped the seed in the ground. So then they got rid of the plateless planter, the plate planter. That's why this is called a plateless planter, and they introduced fingers. In his day, this company here with the fingers was the state of the art. I mean, it was the top of the game. But now they come out with air planters. The problem with air planters are, for me, is I don't have $70,000 for a planter. I use one you can get for about $50,000. It's just totally not justifiable. And with the air planters, I understand you have to have a certain amount of horsepower to produce that vacuum. There's a big vacuum pump on it, I think. Don't quote me on all that, because I never owned one, so maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. So this is what I have. It works really good. This wheel here drops into dry fertilizer, only 100 pounds an acre, because you don't want to burn the seed when the seed's coming out. It's planted about 4 or 5 inches away from the seed. So any more than 100 pounds an acre, you could have a little bit of root burn. So that's putting in a little bit of dry fertilizer. These here are to kick the trash away. Then I have a knife here with jags on it to cut the ground. And then I have a second pair of double blades right here that drops the seed right here out. So it actually is quite a machine. If you think of it, it's only 40 years old or older. They really knew what they were building at that time. But the new planters are just out of my reach. I just couldn't even have the thought of a new planter. And plus, I don't even think they make a 4-row air planter. I think they're all like 6 rows or 8 rows or 12 rows, 16 rows. They're not even thinking about the small farmer anymore. I truly believe they want the small farmers gone. So that's the story on that. And if you have any questions, you can ask, just tell in, and I'll try to explain it better. But the reason why I use this machine here, because it's 21 runs, 16 feet across, and I actually make really good time. So, since this machine here, like I said, kicks up some of the seeds if you're going too fast, or if the field's in poor condition. So to make up for that, I put 1% higher seed ratio on in the ground than normal. So that 1% probably cost me an extra $1,000 or $800 extra to put that 1% extra seed in the ground to make sure that I get enough population in the ground. So they say, why are you doing that, Arnie? I said, well, if I buy a brand new or a second-hand bean planter for $50,000, I can easily spend $1,000 in extra seed, and it would take me 50 years just to break even. So I'm using a little extra seed. It's wasteful, but this is a problem that we've created, because as a medium-sized farmer, I can't afford any of this brand new stuff. That's totally out of my reach to own it. So I'm gonna guess 40-some-year-old there. This machine here is probably hitting close to 40 years old too. And that machine here is probably hitting around the 40 to 45 years old too. And it's actually doing a fine job. You know, the nice thing about all this old machinery, it's actually quite easy to fix and maintain without hiring a whole technician and a computer laptop and everything else that it would take to fix a brand new tractor. So what we're doing today, since we're done seeding, This machine here is going to do all my wrapping for me, for wrapping the hay. I put the wrapper on this machine, tractor, and we're going to take off these duals right now. And these are the old type of duals. So they have a threaded rod on them. So I have to undo that nut. That clamp will trip off. And then at that point, that tire will just fall off. The other tractor actually has clamps on it that just snap on. But this is an old set of tires. Again, I bought these tires secondhand, and I bought the other duals for the bigger tractor secondhand too. Yeah, it's kind of, it gets a little bit tedious, a little bit like embarrassing to say I'm always buying secondhand. But I don't know how you can survive if you don't buy secondhand. And I mean, I have a neighbor that's quite a large dairy farmer, and he's complaining about everything. But I'm looking in the yard, like he's got $100,000 pieces of machines. I mean, eventually that's going to swallow you right up, and you can't afford to pay for any of it. But I can get by with this, and I've done enough talking, and I think I'm going to get going. And I'm certain it's extremely hot here today. Like, I hope we get a thunderstorm. And I'm going to unsnap these duals, and then I'm going to go in and get cooled off. Ready to mow hay. This is what it looks like, the machine that mows hay. It's a 13-foot cut. It's a little larger than normal. On the back we use flares. We don't use rollers. I like the flares a lot better. It cracks the hay a little bit and makes it dry better. And right now I'm just sharpening up the blades. 2 blades in every spinner. So 1,000 RPM, so it's moving really fast like a lawnmower. It'll basically cut through anything, even a steel post. We had a steel post in the field and cut right through it. So I just went and changed one of these blades. It's quite bad worn. You can reverse these blades the other way around, but I couldn't be bothered. Took that little blade off, and I just put a brand new one right on there. Just undo that bolt, put a brand new blade on there. So what you have to be concerned about with these machines are, you notice how that blade has a little, is a little lower in this end, higher at this end. So the reason for that is, when it's traveling 1,000 RPM around real fast, that little curve upwards is causing an updraft. So it's sucking the hay right out of the ground while it's being cut off. So it's actually vacuuming the hay right into the back. So it's very important you get that little lift. The lift has to go up, not down. So when you install these, don't install them backwards. So right now I'm just sharpening them all, check them all over. I've just greased the whole machine, and we're getting ready to mow hay in a couple days. Yeah, I can probably, this machine here, I'm traveling about 6-7 miles an hour. I can probably cut 25 acres down in an hour and a half. Pretty fast. So that's the duals off. Got them stacked away. I'm just ready to hook up the mower. Plants are doing pretty good, a little dry. They're called some people call them canuses. But I think they're called cana lilies. So, gonna get a drink here with Lynn, get cooled off for a second.
Lamb pot pie for supper tonight. Actually, it's chicken pot pie, just with sheep ornamentation. Here we go.
Okay, Lynn, what are we having for supper tonight, babe?
I already told them it's lamb pot pie without the lamb.
Lamb pot pie without the lamb.
Just got lamb decorations.
Well, I thought they were cows. But you said they're lambs? Really? That looks extremely good, babe. I had a little video about you last night.
What?
About feeding lambs. Did you get that little video?
I haven't checked it yet, I don't think.
Well, you should.
Did I?
You should. I talked about being an idiot and not getting supper.
Oh yeah, this should have gone on that video. I did see that. Okay.
Are we scooping it up?
This is the hard part.
Yeah, it's all going to fall apart.
How are we going to get this out of here?
Yeah, just do the best. It's going to end up in your stomach anyhow.
We don't need to film this part.
Why not?
Because I wanted to have a little sheep on each slice.
I'm trying to get your face in the picture.
I don't want it in.
Okay.
Okay.
I hope everybody's supper is as good as our supper. Have a good evening.